that one was shit.
Human Centipede.
The Human Centipede Trilogy. 3 horror films directed by one person, Tom Six. So he's the creator of all 3 Human Centipede films. They each go in different sections. There's the first sequence, which is number 1, the full sequence, which is the second one, and the third one, which is called the final sequence. The reason these films are each known by these sequences is because they all connect like an actual human centipede, and each film is related by the fact of their endings and their beginnings. Like the first film ends, which is actually the beginning of the second film, and then the second film ends, which is also the beginning of the third film, and that's so on and so forth. So you're probably thinking, the Human Centipede films? Yes, I've only recently just seen these films, and can I just say, they are probably the most creepiest, the most bizarre horror films I have ever seen in my life. I'm not so easily scared of many horror films. I mean, there are a few horror films that do creep me out, but this was just... I mean, this was just fucked up. I'm just going to come out and say it. These films are fucked up completely. I mean, it's amazing how you get inspiration over so many things, and then you think, I've got an idea. Let's do a movie where we connect actual human beings together from mouth to arse, and they just crawl around like centipedes. It's just so weird. When I first heard about the Human Centipede, the first film years ago, I literally thought it was a science fiction film. I thought it was a science fiction film literally about a giant bug. But then I thought, oh, it's one of those movies with the, computer graphics and stuff like that. And I just thought, yeah, maybe give it a go, maybe not. But, well, then I've better just see if this is actually what I think it is. And it wasn't at all. It's just such a bizarre movie. Okay, so the first film was called The Human Centipede First Sequence. And when this was released, people said that this horror film was the most controversial and probably the most sickening horror film ever made. And it is. It's just absolutely disgusting and horrible. But yeah, it's also quite entertaining in a controversial way. I love controversial films. I mean, I love Clockwork Orange, for example. That was controversial, but it's a great movie. But this is much more the upper level of a horror film. This is probably like a mix between Alien mixes with Human Experiments, you know what I mean? It's just something like that. But the whole film itself is just absolutely, like, it's never been done before. But that's what I like about it. It's a film that's never been done before. It's a film that is just so different. It just takes it up to a completely different level. When I first saw the Human Centipede film, I thought, I want to give it a go. Watched it, and I was just like, what the hell did I just watch? But at the same time, I did quite enjoy the movie. Obviously, it was disturbing and it was a bit sick, and there are some scenes in it which did make me think, oh my god, what the hell is going on? Like, the death scenes are very violent, and also the scene where the Japanese character poos in the actress's mouth, yeah, that's definitely not a good scene to actually watch, because you know it's not, well, because you can't see it, but you know it's happening. So yeah, that's basically the most disturbing thing I've seen. And then of course you have the second film, which is called the full sequence, which really takes the film up to another level. There's more violence, there's more gore, there's more blood, there's more death, there's worse most of all. I mean, basically the first film is about 2 women who knock on a door because they're lost, their tyre on their car is flat, and then all of a sudden they meet this doctor who used to separate twins for a living. The guy who plays the doctor, he's really creepy, but he's really good at his acting. I mean, he's just absolutely fantastic. He literally stole the movie. Plus, it was great to know that he actually has the most dialogue in the whole film, because you think it's about the 2 girls, and then it very slowly turns into more about the doctor and his backstory and why he does this. I mean, it's just so weird and so, typical horror style, but at the same time, you grow to love about the villain. It's the villain that was the star of the whole picture. The second film, for example, is also stars about the villain. It's about a character that actually loves the Human Centipede DVD. Like, the actual film of the first actually promotes on the second, and then it's like, I want to copy that movie. It kind of reminded me a lot of Scream, but basically in the second one, what happens is that it's more about a security guard. And when he was a child, he actually got sexually molested by his dad, and now his dad's in prison, and his mum hates him for him going to prison. So what happens is the son then wants to make his own Human Centipede because he's obsessed with the movie, and then all along he kills his mother who just tried to kill him, and then he takes on the enemies like his neighbour, for example. He actually took on his massive neighbour who played loads of music and threatened to kill him. And then throughout the rest of the half-hour movie, he's torturing all these people. Plus, an actress from the first film returns to play herself. She also talks about the Human Centipede. It's just so bizarre. The second film was proper horrible. Like, it was filmed in black and white. It was suspenseful. It was clever that the villain didn't have any dialogue, but at the same time, it just kind of really kicks it up a notch. But I like it because it's unique, but it's much more horrific than the first film. You take the first film and you've seen it and you think that's horrible. You haven't seen the second one, and if you don't like gore and you don't like the violence and you don't literally like seeing poo go into people's mouths, seriously, do not watch the second film. I am warning you. The second film will make you feel sick. I actually showed my girlfriend these films, the first and second film, and she said that she felt a bit sick watching these movies. Like, the reason she wanted to watch it was because she loves horror films as well. And then she was like, I want to see them as well, but I've heard they're gory. And I said, yes, they are. But she still wanted to watch it. I had to cover her eyes mostly on the second one, because every time there was a violent moment, she kept doing this. And also she kept doing this. And I just had to go, don't look. And I think there were times where I could hear her go, and I was thinking, oh God, she's going to throw up. As for me, I almost was a little bit sick on the second one, but I wasn't literally about to whole gag. I literally was just like, I can't believe that this is actually happening. But because, if that was a real life situation, that'd be torturous. Anyway, let's talk about the third film. Well, the third film is like the Jurassic Park 3 of this version, because it sucks. Jurassic Park 3 sucks, but this even sucks. I mean, Jurassic Park 3 is much more better than the Human Centipede 3. You've seen a lot of films that, have a number 3 in them. This is definitely the worst sequel I have seen in a long time. It is an awful, awful, awful sequel. The third film is so different from the other two. All they did was have the two actors who play the main villains play different characters. I mean, the guy who played the scientist in the first one, all he does is play this jail captain person who basically looks after the prisoners, and he is literally just shouting and screaming through the whole film. And then you have the little guy, Lawrence R. Harvey, who played the villain in the second film. He finally talks, but he's just there to be like a sidekick. He kind of looks like Penfold from Danger Mouse. These actors do look like cartoon characters when they're playing this. I mean, the third film is not even a horror. It's like a black comedy that shouldn't be called a black comedy. It should be called a bad comedy. Because the director said he wasn't trying to make this film more like a Disney film compared to the second one. It's just awful. The third film was a waste of time. I literally only watched probably 45 minutes of the third film. Nothing was happening. The music was bad. The comedy was awful. I can't believe Tom Six even cameoed in himself to play himself. The first two were proper horror films. The third one is a waste of time. If you like proper good horror films, watch the first one. If you love loads of gore and violence and nastiness, watch the second one. If you love horrible movies that are just terrible and not even a comedy or anything, then watch the third film, because I hated it. It's terrible. Seriously, guys, I do compare the first and second film, but remember, if you're going to watch the second one, if you're not so easy offended and you love a bit of gore and violence and you love a bit of, controversial films, then yeah, go ahead, watch it. But I will warn you, it's very not pleasant. I mean, how I managed to watch these films, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to rate these films in my own way. The first film I'm going to rate, I'm definitely going to give an 8 out of 10 for being a very unique horror, very controversial. And, it is good, but like I said, there isn't too much originality out of it, apart from the fact that they're trying to make a Human Centipede. The second film I'm going to give is a good score of probably 6.5 out of 10 for being a unique horror, but not really having the same quality of the first film. And as for the third film, I'm literally going to give a 0 out of 10. Waste of time, horrible film, not even worth watching. Not even comparing it to the other Human Centipede films. To be honest, it's too much like a spoof than it is of a Human Centipede film. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this review didn't make you feel sick either. Like I said, if you want to watch the films, then go ahead. But if you have already seen the movies, did you like them? What was your favourite Human Centipede film? If you liked all three of them, then well done for you. If you liked the third one, that's good for you. I'm just giving out my own opinion. But let me know, guys. Comment below and subscribe and tell me. But also, what's your favourite horror movie? If you've got a favourite horror film, then please tell me that. Even if it's a sequel, then go for it. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Please comment and subscribe. And I'm Reese, and I've just given you a very creepy and very disturbed random review.